Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Superintendent Monthly Review. This is the one for August, and I'm here with Superintendent Dan Snowberger. Dan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
So the new year is off and running. All the kids are here at all grade levels, and
Yep.
here we go.
Ready or not?
Yes.
It's been a great week. Obviously, anytime you have the start of a new school year, you have some new leaders in place. There's always those hiccups, and
Yeah.
and and I really appreciate the patience of our parents, because obviously, things change, procedures change, and yet. Again, all we can always do better at communication. I think that's something we always strive to improve. But just appreciate the patience the parents have had. Just being out in schools this week and seeing the engagement of students in the classroom and seeing the amazing work that our teachers are doing to set the tone. This first week of school, I think sometimes people don't realize how important the first week of school is, because you set the tone for students. Students know what to expect the rest of the year. And so just really congratulations to our staff for the amazing work that they've done. We had a couple of scheduling snafus at the middle and high school, and I want to tell parents, last year many of our schools, our two secondary schools, didn't get schedules out until I think the first day of school, and I know there was frustration about that. This year we pushed them out really early. And unfortunately, then there were some schedule changes that needed to happen, and so some students saw their first schedule and were excited that the lineup that they had, and then because of snafus that occurred, or classes that were conflicting, changes were made, and then obviously they found out they had different classes. So parents, I just want to apologize for that. We are continuing to try to figure out how can we do that. How can we make sure that schedules are out sooner? When we have students who register up until literally the last day before school starts, it does make some things challenging. But please know that concern does not go unnoticed. I received a few emails from parents, and I want to say to parents who reach out and let us know, hey, this happened or this wasn't as good as I had hoped. That's really important. Let us know, because obviously if we don't know, we can't fix it. And so I have a team of administrators that are really passionate about trying to make things better each and every year. And sometimes when you try to make things better, you have a step back before you have two steps forward.
Right.
So just appreciate that patience.
And so one of the things I wanted to ask you about is, I know you've been going out to the schools and seeing how things are, and also kind of getting a feel for the energy at the schools, because every year brings different energy. So what have you noticed different this year compared to last year?
What I'm really excited about is the engagement in classrooms. So all of our schools, we'll talk a little about our pre-service training with teachers, but as I said, that first week of school sets the tone for students for the rest of the year. And so the work that our teachers have done in really preparing for a very smooth, very clear instruction of our procedures and practices that will be used throughout the year. I've just seen very engaged classrooms. I can't say that I've walked by a classroom yet that there aren't kids who are actively engaged and teacher engaged in some activity or learning. And so not that that's not the norm, but the first week of school to see that level of strong engagement is so encouraging.
Right.
I know at a couple of our elementary schools, I've been there at dismissal, and I see some very tired students going home. And we want them to be actively engaged all day, and obviously that leads to them being exhausted when they go home. But again, I'm very, very encouraged by what I'm seeing in our schools and in our classrooms, and can't thank our teachers enough for their hard work. It's really been a lot of preparation on their part, and that's paid off.
And this has also been probably good for you to see how things are flowing at the middle school, since we really did somewhat of a relaunch there, and we improved the paint, and we did a lot of stuff on the outside, but also to improve kind of the flow for students and the overall culture.
Exactly. Reorganizing into pods, there's less of that students running into each other. Still students who cross pathways a little bit during class changes, but just seeing the procedures that are in place. I know the first day of school when I was at the middle school, and again, every classroom was engaged from literally 3 minutes into the day. And so again, just so much hard work on the part of our teachers. None of this happens without their hard work and dedication. And so I'm very hopeful that we are on the right track and that we're going to have a great year.
So leading up to the first week of school, we had pre-service week, as you talked
Yep.
about. Part of that is convocation.
Yep.
Another part of that is training
Yep.
staff and bringing in new staff and welcoming them,
Yep.
and also honoring some of our
Yep.
employees who have hit some significant
Yep.
milestones. So there was a lot that went into that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That week that teachers are back, I know people might have that perception of teachers are just sipping coffee and chatting. That our teachers were extremely busy from their very first day on August 6th until students walked in on the 14th, 15th, and 18th. And so pre-service convocation is a big deal for me since I've been in the district. It's a way that we kick off the year, we set the tone, we outline kind of key objectives for the year with our staff, and all of our staff, for our custodians, our kitchen staff, our bus drivers, our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our office staff, our district office employees. And so it's really a neat event. It's an hour. It's a chance for teams to really understand what we're facing this year, what we're hoping to accomplish. We do a little celebration of spirit, and we do a little competition. Singing Hills, congratulations.
Yes.
They won the Spirit Stick this year. They've been fierce contenders the last 2 years. So we're happy that they achieved that, and I have no doubt that that spirit will continue throughout the year. And honestly, every one of our schools probably we're pretty close to winning that Spirit Stick. So at Convocation, we do recognize staff, and we recognize staff who return. So we always, of course, welcome any new staff. And this year we had a little smaller crop of new staff than we have in the past several years. But we honor people who have been in the district for a long time. So I want to real quickly, if you
Sure.
will, let me talk a little about 15-year mark for these employees. Echo Gustafson from Elizabeth Middle School, Najla Grenz from Elizabeth High School, Larry Lorimer, who's our supervisor of facilities, and then Curtis Kallmeyer, who's one of our teachers at Elizabeth Middle School, 15 years in the district. 20 years, Melanie Kallmeyer, you might recognize that happens to be the wife of Curtis. 20 years at Elizabeth Middle School. Robin Poyer and Summer Katzoff at Elizabeth High School. There are our student council reps at the high school, and so all of them reached 20-year marks. Paula Burke at Running Creek Elementary, kind of the rock and the glue at Running Creek. And then Christine Battistoni at Singing Hills Elementary. And I want to say something about Christine. People come and go and they take a year off. And so sometimes calculating that is somewhat challenging, especially when those occur. Christine did not get recognized at Convocation. I actually delivered a basket to her today in front of her students to recognize
Nice.
Christine. So 25 years in the district. And then finally, a 35-year veteran, Tammy Myers. Tammy is our HR coordinator, has worked in our finance department, and again, really just one of those stalwarts in our district. So recognizing staff is an important part of that convocation. To your other point, we had training. We had a day and a half of training for all of our teachers on both direct explicit instruction, which we've talked a little more about. Expect a new release, a little more detail on that next week with a second video in the series. And then we had a day of really setting up for success, ensuring that our classrooms are engaging, that we have procedures and routines that allow classrooms to be predictable for students. And again, we took a day and a half out of their pre-planning to actually really support them in growing in their practice. And our teachers were amazing. And again, it's showing in the classroom.
I also wanted to talk about one of the main themes that you put out there at Convocation, and you really wanted people to know that academically, especially as it relates to reading, this is a statewide issue where we're seeing students fall short.
Absolutely.
And that they're not prepared for success as they advance in grade level. When I've been going to the schools, I've seen an immediate energy and actual materials on the walls and in the classrooms supporting this initiative. So you're probably pleased to see that the teachers have really embraced this.
Absolutely. We trained 4 or 5 staff members over the summer to become certified academic language therapists, which is our dyslexia program. Take Flight is the name of the program itself. We trained 5 additional staff members to help service students who have dyslexic-like tendencies. We don't diagnose dyslexia because we're not medical doctors, but we can identify those characteristics and know that that's impacting a student's ability to read. And then just overall trying to intervene with students who are falling behind. I will say this, I do want to encourage parents. We've had some parents who have denied permission for their student to be in intervention, and I'm sure
Mm.
it's because, well, I was never told my child is behind. That is something I'm going to say right now we own as a district. It is clear that data has not been as important, and sometimes we've discounted that data. That's not where we are anymore as a district. We want you to know if your child's below, we want to help. We don't want to move children through our system like Swiss cheese with gaps in their learning and holes in their learning. We want to make sure that we really build a solid foundation for students. And so parents, if you've been called or told, hey, your child really could use reading intervention, please take advantage of it, because again, to have your child move forward, keep in mind reading is probably the skill that children need most for success in life on whatever pathway they choose. If they can read, they can learn auto mechanics, they can learn about biology, they can learn about anything if they can read. And so
Right.
our emphasis on reading is so important. And to your point, Jeff, we're seeing a lot of emphasis on that in our schools. So interventions are starting. Parents, you will get data on your students in the coming 3 or 4 weeks as we do this initial beginning of the year assessment. At conferences, I know our elementary teachers will be sharing with parents in particular where your child is. Again, if they're behind, that's not the end of the world. We need to catch them up and we need to work together. And that's what our programs are designed to do. It's not about labeling students, it's about helping them catch up.
So definitely take advantage of that opportunity, not to see it as a bad thing, but an opportunity for growth.
Yep.
Even when I was going to school, I certainly fell short in math and other
Yep.
subjects. And if something was there to help me along, I'm sure my parents would have
Yep.
embraced that.
Exactly.
So
It's important. It's important. And so, parents, if you've said no, don't hesitate to call back your school and say, hey, can we talk more? Can you show me the data? Again, we recognize parents who were caught off guard by, oh my gosh, my child's behind. I didn't know that. We will do a better job this year. Again, that's really an important part of our initiative.
now you also have a superintendent forum coming up, and you did these throughout the school year last year. This is an opportunity for really anybody to come and have some face-to-face time with Dan, and it's just a Q&A
Yep.
session. You don't really have an agenda.
Yep.
You're there to listen.
Yeah, and it's so many things. We've talked about this. I don't want to be a broken record, but so many things have happened in the district as a result of parents coming forward and sharing concerns, ideas, thoughts, things they feel like maybe we can do better. And so my forum on September 17th at 6 o'clock here in the district office boardroom is really a chance for just dialogue, parents. I don't have a dog and pony show. I don't have a PowerPoint for you. I'm just here to listen, for you to say, hey, what's going on here? Or what about that? Or this is something that concerned me about what happened in my child's school. And it's a chance for us to really dialogue. And parents who come typically kind of work together on
Mm-hmm.
kind of building. Sometimes we do walk away with solutions. So it's not just another, oh, I got to go and blah, 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 hear somebody talk. It's a chance for you to talk and for me to listen. And when I can respond, or when I can share thoughts, or when I can share ideas, and maybe bounce those off of you, that's what it's all about. So
Yep.
September 17th, 6 o'clock here in the boardroom. Hope you'll come.
And I'll be putting out more information about that across our social media and on our website. And I also did want to mention to our families out there that I have gotten some emails what's going on with the auto shop building. And just so you know, we've been staying on top of that week after week throughout the summer, ensuring that that project is moving along. And we will have some exciting
Yeah,
updates very
yeah, yeah,
soon on that. We're just waiting for a few more things to come along
yeah.
inside, but there's a lot of work
Yeah.
going on.
And just to mention, everyone thinks, well, it doesn't take me that long here in Elbert County or in the town of Elizabeth to get permits approved. The school district has to work through the state permitting department. And so we work through Denver and the state permitting office. And needless to say, every school district, 178 school districts in the state of Colorado, all are pulling their permits from that same entity.
Mm-hmm.
And their staff isn't large. And
Yeah.
so sometimes we are waiting 4 to 6 weeks for an inspection to occur before we can move on.
Right.
And so I know there's frustration, folks, about that, this should have been done, you promised. it's on track and it's moving forward. It's actually completely buttoned up now. We got our final fire inspection. Drywall is starting to go up in the classroom, and so we are extremely close. And I know we say that, and then people are like, "Yeah, we don't believe you." It's a tough process,
Yeah.
but we're so looking forward to celebrating with our auto shop teachers and our high school that facility.
And the moment that I have an opportunity to go there and show you all how it looks, I'm going to do that. I just want to make sure that when that happens, it's all polished and looks good. And we have the lifts on the way, and there's actually a lot of activity happening next week. So be sure to keep an eye out for social media on that. Any other closing thoughts before
No,
we wrap up?
just parents, thank you so much for your patience. Again, the start of school is always stressful. We've had the summer, things have gone well, we've enjoyed some time off, and then school happens. And if everything's not just right, I know sometimes it's off putting. Just thank you for your patience. Continue to communicate with us, whether it's your school leaders or myself, about things that are concerning, frustrating, things you want to know why. Let us get you the answers, and when we can improve, we will. But again, just thank you for your partnership.
Dan, thank you.
Yep, thank
and
you.
we look forward to these every month. For those of you who are new, we do these superintendent monthly reviews every month. So this is September's, or this is August. We'll do another one in September, October, and so forth, just to keep you up to date with what's going on in the school district.
Yep.
And be sure to follow us on Elizabeth School District social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram and Nextdoor and LinkedIn, and we're also on X. And be sure to follow us on the website too. That's elizabethschooldistrict.org. And we will see you again soon.
Thank you.